49 cents. That's what one serving costs. One fruit you can find in any grocery store in America. And a published clinical trial showed it improved insulin sensitivity in just 6 weeks. That fruit is the blueberry. But before you think you already know everything about blueberries, I have to tell you, you don't. Because most people eat them the wrong way, at the wrong time, and unknowingly wipe out 70% of the benefit. And here's the part that's bothered me for years. Right now, in your kitchen, there are 7 fruits. 3 of them are helping your blood sugar. 4 of them are quietly wrecking it. And nobody, not even your doctor, not even the label on the bag, is telling you which is which. Today I'm going to rank all 7, worst to best. Number 7 is the one most seniors still eat every summer, thinking it's harmless. Number 1 is why one of my patients, I'll call her Margaret, watched her A1C drop from 8.4 to 6.1 in just 90 days. Her endocrinologist asked her what she'd changed. She told him just one fruit. He wrote it down. I'm Sarah, 45 years old, and I've spent over 20 years working directly in senior health care, from hospital floors to in-home care. Today I'm going to tell you exactly what Margaret did, why it worked, and which fruits you need to stop eating right now. But before I rank even one fruit, there are 2 quick things, and they matter more than you think. If you're over 60 and keeping an eye on your blood sugar, subscribe to this channel. This channel exists to give you the explanation a 12-minute doctor's visit never has time for. Then leave one word in the comments, the fruit you eat most days of the week. I read every comment, and you're the ones who tell me what to cover next. Alright, let's get into it. Let me explain why fruit is so confusing for anyone managing blood sugar. Because fruit isn't one single thing. It's not like salt, where more is worse and less is better. Think of fruit like a medicine cabinet in your house. Some bottles in that cabinet heal you. Some make you sicker. And a few of them look identical on the outside, but what's inside is completely different. Here's what happens in your body when you eat fruit. The sugar in fruit is mostly fructose. Fructose doesn't go straight into your bloodstream like glucose does. It takes a detour through your liver first. Your liver has to process it, and in small amounts with the fiber still intact, your liver handles it just fine. Blood sugar stays steady. No spike, no crash. But, and this is the part nobody explains, when you eat fruit without the fiber, when you juice it, blend it, or eat a fruit that's naturally low in fiber and high in sugar, that fructose floods the liver. The liver panics. It converts that fructose directly into fat. And worse, it triggers something called hepatic insulin resistance. Your liver starts ignoring insulin. And once your liver stops responding to insulin, your fasting blood sugar goes up, even while you sleep, even after 12 hours without eating. That's why some fruits help and some fruits hurt. So let's rank them. All 7, worst to best. As I go, keep a running count of which ones are sitting in your kitchen right now, because by the end of this, you're going to want to walk in there and rearrange a few things. Number 7, watermelon. This is the one I warned you about at the start of this video. The one most seniors reach for all summer, thinking it's the safe choice because it's mostly water. And it is mostly water, around 92%. That's exactly the trap. Watermelon has a glycemic index of about 76. Plainly put, that's higher than a spoonful of straight table sugar. And there's almost no fiber in it to slow anything down. So that big cool slice on a July afternoon hits your bloodstream nearly as fast as a can of soda. The water tricks you into feeling like nothing happened. Your pancreas knows better. Watermelon is a treat, a few small cubes alongside a handful of nuts. It's not a bowl you sit with all afternoon on the porch. That bowl is a spike, and you'll feel it as a slump an hour later. Number 6, pineapple. Pineapple has a reputation as a health food, mostly because of bromelain, the enzyme people take for digestion and swelling. Here's the problem. Bromelain does nothing for your blood sugar, and pineapple carries a glycemic index around 66, with a heavy load of fast sugar and very little fiber to buffer it. Canned pineapple in syrup is worse. Pineapple juice is worse still, because now you've stripped the fiber out entirely, and you're right back to flooding the liver, the exact mechanism I just described. Fresh pineapple, a few bites after a real meal that already has protein and fat in your stomach, your body can manage that. Pineapple on its own, on an empty stomach, is a sugar delivery system with a tropical accent. Number 5, mango. People call mango the king of fruits, and they say it like it's a compliment to their health. One medium mango carries roughly 45 grams of sugar. That's more than you'll find in most candy bars, and its glycemic index sits around 60. Mango does bring real vitamin C and some carotenoids, the orange pigments that are genuinely good for you, but the sugar load drowns all of that for someone managing blood sugar. so treat mango like dessert. A few thin slices fine. Half a mango chopped into a morning bowl is a number you'll watch climb on your meter. Number 4, the banana. This is the one in almost every kitchen in America, and this is where it gets interesting, because the banana proves the whole point of this video. A banana isn't one fixed thing. It changes by the day. A firm green-tipped banana is full of resistant starch, a starch your body can't quickly break down, so it passes through slower and barely moves your blood sugar. But as that banana sits on the counter and the skin turns spotted and brown, that resistant starch turns into plain sugar. A heavily spotted banana can climb to a glycemic index around 62. Same banana, completely different effect, 3 days apart. And here's where most people get it wrong. The same mistake they make with blueberries, which I'll come back to. They grab the softest, sweetest, brownest banana, eat it alone first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and wonder why they feel shaky and starving by 10 a.m. A green-tipped banana, half of it, eaten with a spoon of peanut butter or a boiled egg, that's a reasonable choice. A brown banana alone at 7 in the morning is a spike with a crash built into the back end. So those are your 4: watermelon, pineapple, mango, and the overripe banana. 4 fruits sitting quietly in your kitchen, working against the exact thing you're trying to fix. Now, the 3 that actually work for you. Number 3, the apple. You've heard an apple a day your whole life, and it turns out that's mostly true, with one condition. The skin has to stay on. The apple's real tool is pectin, a soluble fiber concentrated right under the skin. Pectin forms a gel in your gut that slows sugar absorption to a crawl. The skin also carries most of the apple's polyphenols, the plant compounds tied to a steadier insulin response. Peel the apple, and you've thrown away the medicine and kept the sugar. Turn it into applesauce or juice, and it's worse than the peeled apple. A whole apple with the skin on lands at a glycemic index around 36, one of the gentlest numbers on this entire list. Eat it whole. Eat the skin. That's the whole instruction. Number 2, grapefruit. Grapefruit has the lowest glycemic index of anything we've talked about today, around 25. It carries a compound called naringin, the bitter flavonoid that gives grapefruit its sharp edge, and it's been tied to improved insulin sensitivity. On paper, grapefruit is close to a perfect fruit for blood sugar, but I have to stop and draw a hard line here because this is the one fruit on the list that can genuinely hurt some of you, and it has nothing to do with sugar. Grapefruit blocks an enzyme in your gut called SYP3A4. That enzyme is what your body uses to break down a long list of common medications, including many statins for cholesterol and several blood pressure drugs. Block that enzyme with grapefruit, and the medication can build up in your blood to levels it was never meant to reach. That's not a small risk. So if you take a statin or a blood pressure pill, don't add grapefruit to your day until you've asked your pharmacist whether yours is on that list. It takes one phone call. If you're not on those medications, grapefruit is a quiet champion. Half of one in the morning, eaten in segments so you keep the fiber, and your blood sugar barely notices. So we're down to number 1, the blueberry. The 49-cent berry I opened with. Here's why it earns the top spot, and why most people throw the benefit straight in the trash without realizing it. The active compound in a blueberry is anthocyanin, the deep blue-purple pigment packed into the skin, and it improves the way your cells respond to insulin. A published trial found measurable gains in insulin sensitivity in about 6 weeks from blueberry compounds alone. And here's the mistake I promised you at the very start. Most people destroy that benefit before it ever reaches their blood. They blend the blueberries into a smoothie, which shreds the fiber and floods the liver with fructose, the exact mechanism we covered earlier. They bake them into muffins loaded with flour and sugar, or they scatter a handful on top of a bowl of sweetened cereal. So whatever good the blueberry does gets buried under the spike from everything around it. Do that and you cancel out most of the benefit. You're eating the bottle and pouring the medicine down the sink. The right way is almost insultingly simple. Half a cup of whole blueberries, fresh or frozen, makes no difference to the anthocyanins, with some protein and fat to slow it all down. Whole. Not blended, not baked, not buried under cereal. Let me tell you about Margaret. She was 64 when I first saw her A1C at 8.4. For anyone who doesn't live by that number, A1C is your average blood sugar over about 3 months. And 8.4 is the range where your doctor starts the serious conversation about adding insulin. 90 days later, it read 6.1. Her endocrinologist genuinely asked her what she'd changed, because a drop like that almost always means a new drug. She told him just one fruit. What Margaret actually did was stir half a cup of whole blueberries into plain Greek yogurt every single morning. The protein and fat in the yogurt slowing everything down. No smoothie, no cereal. And she did one more thing. She stopped drinking the glass of orange juice she'd had with breakfast for 40 years. Because that juice was undoing her blueberries every morning before she ever left the kitchen. A 49-cent serving of the cheapest berry in the store, eaten whole with protein, instead of a fruit juice that was quietly raising her fasting sugar overnight, 3 months, 8.4 to 6.1. He wrote it down. So here's exactly what to do, starting tonight, before this becomes one more video you watched and forgot. 1. Walk into your kitchen and find the 4. Watermelon, pineapple, mango, and any banana that's gone soft and spotted. You don't have to throw them out. You just have to move them, in your own head, from snack to treat. Small portions after a meal, never alone on an empty stomach. 2. Tomorrow morning, half a cup of whole blueberries, fresh or frozen, with plain Greek yogurt or a small handful of nuts. Not in a smoothie, not on cereal, whole. 3. If there's fruit juice in your refrigerator, orange, apple, any of them, pour the glass you have and make it the last one. Juice is the fastest way to undo everything else on this list. 4. Keep apples with the skin on in a bowl where you'll actually see them and eat them whole. The skin is the medicine. 5. And this one is not optional. If you take a statin or a blood pressure medication, call your pharmacist before you add grapefruit. 1 phone call. Don't guess, and never stop a medication on your own because of something you saw online, including from me. The fruit is the easy part. The drug interaction is the part that puts people in the hospital. Here's the piece I want you to remember. Margaret changed 2 things that morning. She added the blueberries, and she dropped the orange juice she'd had with breakfast for 40 years. That second change mattered every bit as much as the first. The fruit you add to your morning matters far less than the thing you've been drinking every single day, quietly spiking your blood sugar before you've even sat down. And that's the next video. The 3 morning drinks most people over 60 reach for every day that quietly raise fasting blood sugar, and the 2 that genuinely lower it. One of them is probably in your hand right now. If you want your numbers to move the way Margaret's did, that's where to go next. I'll see you there.